Interphase Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Dagger Law, and the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home.
Hi, and welcome to Fairfield Today. My name is Rick Schneider, Community Educator with Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care. We are the home of the Pickering House. In fact, we are recording today's show in the Gorsuch room of the Pickering House. And joining me is our CEO, Denise Bauer. Denise, good to see you.
Always good to see you too, Rick.
And actually, it's always good to see Denise. She signs some paychecks, so I always want to stay on her good side just to be safe. We have an exciting guest with us. Would you care to introduce her?
Sure, I'd love to. We have Krystal Miller, and Krystal is the manager of our home health aides, and so we appreciate all that she does and welcome her today.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
You know, with this winter, I just got to thinking, your job's got to be difficult just because of the weather.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, who can't get there, and well, I guess we take care of people about everywhere, don't we?
Oh, all over. But the patients are really, really understanding, and the families, that's the good thing. The families care about us as much as we care about them. They don't, you know, want the aides coming out if the driveways are bad or the weather's bad. So it's nice to know that, and the aides really, it makes them feel really good.
That's good.
So,
great.
You know, it reminds me of my mom. My brother and I were very smart. We filled up our garage was kind of built into the side. We lived on a hill, so the garage was underneath. And my brother and I decided to fill the lawnmower right next to the water heater, which is a pretty good idea. So anyway, you know, there's this big flame up on the top. We called Mom, and you know, she's yelling, well, I don't know. I don't want the firemen come out. It's kind of a bad day. Mom, the house is on fire. But she was worried about, you know, the firemen.
them getting there.
So I can understand, you know, being concerned about us coming out.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Our aides are so, I won't say angelic, but they really score some points.
Yeah.
You know, Denise, I hear a lot of compliments about our aides.
Right. Well, I mean, they do that hands-on care and, you know, provide care that's so important. I mean, we have a team approach in the hospice, you know, and we always talk about our team being physicians and nurse practitioners, nurses, social workers, chaplains, aides, and then of course volunteers when they're available. And then we are, you know, really delighted that we could even have some music therapy and pet therapy here, which most hospices don't have. So we're happy about that. But the aide is just such an integral part of care. And if you can imagine having someone in your home that, you know, you're caring for, it's just nice to have that aide that has that specialized training come in and help you. And our aides do a lot of teaching with the families on, you know, how to provide care. Plus they actually provide a lot of the care themselves. And, you know, so they're the one part of the team that has that hands-on, real personal connection. And it is really important.
Yeah, it is. And even with COVID now, we go into facilities. So with a lot of the facilities not allowing families in, and they are allowing us in, you know, that's what I tell our staff is to, you know, these people need us just as bad as, you know, anybody else right now because they can't even see their loved ones.
Wow. Well, that's really nice. I don't know if many people realize that we can still go into the facilities, you know, with all the restrictions.
There are some that we aren't allowed in still right now, but, you know, if we take the proper steps and they do the rapid testing and all of that, but you know, because we're there for the facility and these patients to provide that extra care.
I'm sure they wear all their equipment, where they wear their N95 masks and their
and different places have different regulations and rules right now. You know, have to have a rapid test before they can even come in, and a lot of places are requiring, you know, that they answer all the questions and wear a 95, and depending on, you know, what the status is of the facility. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, I think some people don't realize when they do call us, our staff goes into a facility.
They do.
You know, they have a parent or a spouse in there, you know, and we can give it a little bit extra.
Yeah. I think it gives the families peace of mind too. Like there's more eyes and more hands-on and care, and we do provide that extra. So whether it's painting the fingernails or doing a spa bath or you know, just spending that little bit of extra time with them, feeding their meals and, you know, things like that. So
When you said doing their nails and all those kind of things, whenever I talk to the general public, that's what I hear. Invariably, they did my mom's nails in her favorite color, you know, and it's always the age that they refer as to who did it. You know, I don't think your aides sometimes realize what an impact they have.
yeah, it's those little things, and that's, you know, what I try to emphasize the most is, you know, spending that time with them, making sure their fingernails are clean. You know, as a family member, you walk in these places and you know, or just even in a home, you know, families are so overwhelmed with what's going on anyways. Like Denise said, you know, we're there to help the families and to do that extra, whether it is,
You know,
that or not.
I think the other thing that's helpful is times when the aides have extra time and they can stay with them a little bit. I mean, that is so important to the families and to the patients. So.
Some of these families don't get sleep at nighttime. They don't, can't even run out to pick up a prescription or just take a shower.
Yeah.
It's like being a new mom in a sense, you know, just having that moment when you're caring for somebody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to have that little bit of a relief come in. We have an aide today actually that's going back to help a family member to load our patient up and take her to the dentist, you know.
Wow.
It's those little, you know, steps that we do to help them get prepared to get going to appointments or whatever it may be. So it means a lot to them.
It does.
You never hear that's not my job. You
Never.
know, they always pitch in, and you know, being a volunteer, I've witnessed the aides in the houses sometimes, and not only that, I've witnessed the anticipation. You know, Brenda's coming tomorrow. What time? You know, they're excited because it. And you know, my own experience, I was a long time ago hit by a car real quick. I was taken to the hospital in Houston. It was a very busy city, and everything was understaffed. And I didn't have that much upkeep, God love them, at the hospital. And one aide came in and asked if I wanted a bath, and I was in heaven when it was over. You know, just took the time and just a basic bath. You know, it was just so wonderful. And I know a lot of our folks, when they finally sign on, if I'm going to say finally, it's been a while since they've received some care like that.
And it's not only the facility's faults either. You know, a lot of places are short-staffed and they're so busy. So that's what we do. We go in to even help them and help relieve some of their load and be that extra for our patients so they can feel that way too.
The last couple of years, you know, with one of our aides actually developing our spa bath. You know, oftentimes when we're caring for people, you know, comfort is our number one, you know, goal is to keep people comfortable. But sometimes there is suffering and things, and whenever we can do things to minimize that, we want to. And so, you know, our spa bath, it really empowers our aides to feel like they're doing something to really help, because they actually see a difference in the patient and sometimes the family.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, when they're done, maybe you could explain to, you know, viewers what the spa bath is.
Our spa bath is just a real fancy bed bath.
That's a good way to put it.
We use essential oils, depending obviously on the patient needs at that time, whether they're restless or in pain or having a hard time breathing. You can just put these oils in the water. You can put it on a washcloth. You can put it in the lotion. And whether it's even just half of a bath or, but spend that extra time and bathe them and rub them down and just really quiet and take your time and
well, you know,
it's just,
you know, I'm getting like relaxed just listening to you talk about it. But
I'm telling you, I sat in on one time and just the smells from the essential oils and you know, we play relaxing music if need be, and it really puts you in the zone.
Well, you know, and I remember talking to a family member. I was lucky enough, I've been working the front desk, and sometimes I'll talk to them. And she said, you know, the aide came in and offered a spa bath, and she said, now, you know, I think we'll say Helen, now Helen, I'm going to touch your arm now. And she touched her arm. Now Helen, I'm just going to rub your shoulder. And she explained to the mother or the person receiving it as she went along, and the daughter was watching, and she said, I can't believe she's that thoughtful. You know, people just come in and do what they have to do, you know.
Yeah.
And she said everything she did, she almost like asked permission. And like you said, they put on the music, dim the lights. You almost want to have a glass of wine and you know, take somebody to dinner. It's just, it's an all-encompassing.
The atmosphere is great.
And what I think is so special is that, you know, the aides, you know, really empower the families to do things like that when they're not there. You know, so our aides are just exceptional. They teach families. I mean, they go above and beyond, and that's the beauty of hospice, is we have the time for that.
Yeah.
You know, and actually, I know part of Krystal's role is that supervision piece to make sure everybody's doing their jobs, and you actually make visits with them, and you know, they have, you know, tests that they have to do, and you know, it's important for us to make sure that, you know, they're following all of our guidelines, but they do exceptional work.
They do. Yeah, and sometimes they even still get nervous if I show up at a home or in a facility, like they're on edge, and I'm like, you just do what you do, you know, but we do, and it not only makes the families feel good, it makes the facilities feel good. Everybody knows that, okay, well, we're following up and making sure that these people know what they're doing. They're not just strangers coming in off the street, and, you know, a lot of our aides even have the hospice certification that's available.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and that's just another extra step to, you know, the best part of the job is knowing that you.
Right. Well, and that hospice palliative care certification is amazing. It's a national test that our staff can take in their different disciplines. And, you know, for an aide to just go above and beyond and just to show that stamp of approval that they have, you know, these credentials that they're certified in hospice and palliative care speaks volumes, I think, for their commitment and, you know, to our mission and to quality. It's amazing.
You know, Krystal had mentioned a little bit ago, they spend time, and sometimes it's not what they do, it's what they don't do. And I was talking to somebody who had, you know, the aide came in and her husband just didn't want a bath. He just wanted to be left alone, more or less. So the aide just sat and talked for about a half hour. That was more or less her schedule. You know, they go longer if needed. Yeah. But she just stayed during her allotted time and just talked to the spouse and the person on service.
Yeah.
It's just.
And that's really it. And that happens a lot of the time, Rick. It really does. You know, we have to build rapport with these folks to let them know that we are there to help them and go above and beyond, but you just can't expect to go in right away sometimes and all right, it's time for your bath. But and that's what the aides are really good at, is they know, like they have to do those kind of things, and you know, you can't force somebody, and if they're not feeling it that day, we're going to try again tomorrow, but for the meantime, let's sit and chat and drink some coffee or whatever it may be. That means more to these people than anything else, not just an in and out, you know.
Let me put my name on a list, just in case you cancer, you need to give somebody a bath, just let me know.
Spa bath. I know.
The aides know.
You're in line, Rick.
Thank you very much.
He always takes one for the team.
Yeah, somebody's got to help out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I hear so many compliments about what your aides do.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess there's probably a little, when you're interviewing for potential, I can't even talk now.
Potential.
Thank you much. For people who want to work here.
Yes.
I guess you're looking for a little more extra something.
Oh, it's the compassion, and with our side of it is, you know, really the flexibility, reliability, and you have to be compassionate about what you're doing. It's so funny because when I interview people that come from facilities, they're so used to that busy 30 patients to one person or whatever it may be, and I look at them and tell them straight to their face, this is not how hospice is. You have to learn how to slow down. It takes them a while to adjust to that.
Yeah, because they're in trouble if they're, you know.
Yeah. I said, this is what we want you to do. But once they get into it, they love it.
Well, I think that speaks to when we talk about things that are unique to our organization. And a lot of times, you know, I hear in our industry that, number one, there's a huge shortage of aides. That's one of the huge workforce needs of this country, and we've been very blessed that we have a lot of people apply for jobs here, and
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's not to say that we don't have openings, we do, but you know, because people move or things happen. But overall, we've had a lot of longevity. I mean, we've had aides that work for Fairhope for what, 17 years, 20
Oh, yeah.
years.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, I think there's an aide that has worked for us
Debbie's
as long as I have, like
Yeah.
20.
Wow.
25 years, but
Holy
over that.
moly.
Yeah,
Go,
so I
Debbie.
mean, you know, just to have someone in that position for that long, you know, means a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, we do our best to treat our staff well,
Yeah.
but you know, it can be hard work if you're taking care of these people with all these needs every day. It can be very emotionally draining at times.
It
And so
really
we do
is.
what we can to pick them up, and I know Krystal's available for them 24 hours a day. Pretty much 7 days a week. I mean, they can call in and get an administrator on call on the weekends or whenever. There's always someone available for them to talk to.
Yeah.
But you know, Krystal really supports the staff, and that's important because
Yeah.
they're going through a
They
lot.
need
And
that.
like you said, the COVID just adds extra demands on them right now.
It really does. It really
So,
does.
shout out to thank all of our aides.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Good job.
Well, and then not only is it the person on service, it's also family. Many times they're there, I guess most of the time, aren't they?
Oh yeah,
When,
yeah,
So, you know, I guess a counselor once in a while, you know, let them talk and,
yep.
you know, there's
To
a
let
lot-
them vent, and then you have your patients who live alone and don't have anybody, and they really rely on that visit. If somebody's running late, you know, we have one particular patient, she'll call in here and make sure so-and-so is coming for the day and when they're going to be there. And it's amazing what these people do.
Yeah.
Denise knows I send my Happy Friday emails every Friday. And
They cheer me up. I like them.
our aides are amazing. And I just like to remind them of that. Like Denise said, with COVID, it's just, they are so drained sometimes.
Well, you know, so oftentimes patients that have COVID, you know, they've been isolated. They're quarantined. They're away
Yeah.
from their families. So our staff, I mean, we've protected our staff. We don't feel that our staff have gotten COVID from patients.
No.
Because if you provide care for a COVID patient and you have all your protective equipment on, you're considered, it's a contact, it's not an exposure. So when our aides are bathing those patients, they have, you know, they have their masks on, they have eye protection, they have gowns and gloves, and so they're totally protected, and they're protecting that patient as well as themselves. Oftentimes they may make that patient the last patient of the day so they can go home and change, you know, those things. So sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't, but you know, we just want to use that those guidelines so that we protect others and ourselves. And so you know, sometimes their patients aren't really touched a lot. And so, you know, that is so important. Touch is important to people. And so for our aides to go in and provide this care, and they're not scared. At first they were apprehensive, like the whole world was.
Yeah.
But, you know, we said, you know, if you provide care with these protective equipment pieces, then, you know, we're going to assure you you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And so when they've had that PPE on, you know, we were pretty assured that, you know, they're not being exposed. So
Yeah.
it's been good.
Yeah, it has been. And that reassurance from us as administrators have really helped the aides understand that.
But of course, if we have someone that is anxious about it, you know, you'll reassign them and things like
Yeah.
that. I mean, we're not, but really, I think our staff here at Fairhope are committed to providing care. And they've taken an oath to do that. And so they're providing care in all settings.
Yeah.
You know, our nurses are out there, and, you know, all of
Yeah.
our staff are social workers and chaplains as needed. You know, they're there.
Well, I know that when I first started as a volunteer, what kind of impressed me was that our staff always has freedom, a little leeway to decide what to do. Rather than calling and ask permission to do something, they just do it.
Yes.
And it's just amazing, and it gives them a little more freedom. Or let me check, or I don't know if I should. If it seems obvious, they just go ahead and do it. You know, we have enough maturity, I guess, and common sense to make the judgment.
Yep.
You know, you don't have to be okaying every single movement, really.
Yeah.
But and that really does convey to the people. You know, they come in with confidence, and they just, it is amazing what I've heard as far as what we do, and it's just like you said, they just show up.
Yeah.
It's amazing, all the little things we do. That's why I kind of wonder, everybody wants to know, where do you get these angels?
Trust me, I say all the time, I wish I could clone them.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really do. Like when they go on vacation or, you know, we're off for a couple days, I'm like, oh, can I just clone you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, and our aides are so flexible. They fill in at other places. I mean, even though they're primarily in the home situation or the facilities, our aides have come in and worked in the Pickering house.
Yep.
They're cross-trained to be able to work the Pickering house and help out, you know, even if it's, you know, just someone that we need a couple people in the room.
Yep.
Now, during COVID, we haven't been able to staff our front desk where we greet our visitors with volunteers, so they've actually pitched in a lot and helped.
Yeah.
Like Rick has and others
Yeah.
have helped check those temperatures and check to make sure people are healthy when they come in here. So, I mean, they just pitch in anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just good people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it's one of our advantages as far as getting good employees. This is one of the businesses you usually don't come here to make a few bucks. You either want to or you don't.
Absolutely.
There's not a let me see what happens, and that you attract that kind of person.
Yeah.
You know, that it's the old you gotta wanna. You don't just hang around
And
for a
that's,
few weeks.
yep, that's what we want. And I've always said it, if you're not meant to be here, you won't be here.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that are meant to be here are still here. And like Denise said, I mean, years and years they've been here. So it makes you feel good. Me as a manager, I'm sure Denise as the CEO, that we have that staff here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and then I think there's a lot to be said. Krystal, being the manager, she really, really knows our staff, and I mean, they all look up to her, and she gives that little pep talk on Fridays. I read them just because it makes me happy. She just is very encouraging and very supportive of them, and that means a lot. If your managers, your directors are, in tune with their staff and trying to do what they can to meet their needs as well. And if the staff feel cared about, and respected, it's so important. And you definitely provide that for the staff, and that helps keep people here, and it helps with our longevity.
Yeah.
So,
thank you.
good job to Krystal
Thanks.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Good.
And we've had longevity with our management team. You've been here for umpteen years. You started out, what is a visiting nurse, or?
Well, I started out on call,
Oh, okay.
and I worked from Fridays at 4 o'clock until Monday mornings at 8 on call. For hospice at the time. It was way over 25 years. And so I kind of got to know what it was like, in the homes. And I worked with some of our aides that we still have when I was on call and helping out. So yeah, I kind of did that nursing care, but was part of the team at that time. And then after I did on call for a year or so, then I actually was hired to work full-time as a clinical coordinator then.
Oh.
And then after that, president and CEO. So.
And that definitely helps. And you've been an aide?
Oh, I was an aide many years ago. Many years ago. That was kind of my side gig when I was cutting hair for a lot of years. And I always knew I wanted to be in healthcare eventually. And then I just had my son and went to nursing school, and that was kind of my motivation. And I worked in long-term care for a little while, and I think that that's a great experience, especially for somebody who, you want to get in there and...
well, it helps you understand what the facilities are going through. And
yes.
I think being an aide at the beginning of your career is helpful too, because you can relate to your aides. And that is important. So, many of us started in one area and then, gone back to school and increased our knowledge and things, and that's what you did. And actually, it motivates a lot of aides to do that. We've had quite a few aides that have gone on to nursing school.
And we
worked
support
for us
that.
over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen so many of them that start out as an aide, LPN, RN, and CHPN, certified, and it just, they love what they do, and it's just what they want to do more.
Yep, and that's the thing. Even our hospice aides, the ones that have been in nursing school too, they still want to work hospice. That was my long-term goal.
Yeah.
I remember working at the hospital as an RN because there was no positions open here at that time, and somebody at the hospital had told me, it was actually an aide, that they had positions open at Fairhope, and I was like, so I got on it and I did it, and I did on call as well with like Denise did on the weekends. I worked night shift on the weekends, and this position came available, and I eased right into it and been here ever since.
The rest is history.
They're gonna have to kick me out the door. But so it's been great.
It's like my wife. She was at a nursing home and she didn't want to move up. She wanted to stay with the patient care.
Yep.
You know, it is nice that some people are natural leaders and they move on up, and she just wanted to take care of people who are ill and, you know, infirmed and all that, and pure nursing, if you want to call it that. And, you know, by our nature, we're lucky enough that we aren't, like you mentioned, the facilities, they do have so many people that have to be cared by so many people. So there's a time limit and we just don't have that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're going to have to wrap this up. I hate to do it. I just
I know.
lay back, get my pipe, and just let you talk
Yes.
for a while. Well, Krystal Miller, thank you very much for being here. It's very informative.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Yep, and I hope, you know, maybe we can attract a few more people just to consider us, you know, because it is terribly rewarding.
Yeah.
If I can use that word.
Yep.
So, Denise, glad to see you again.
Thank you.
And remember, keep signing the checks. I don't want
Okay, got that pen waiting.
You betcha. Well, looks like time's about up. I want to thank you for watching, and remember, celebrate life.
Interphase Video presents Fairfield Today. Brought to you by Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Dagger Law, and the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home.
The moment that you're told that you have cancer, so many things were going through my mind.
I had this pain that kind of doubled over, and FMC got me the help that I needed, so I ended up surviving.
Fairfield Medical Center has helped me get through what was the hardest 6 months of my life.
When I first came to Fairfield Medical Center, she was probably having an allergic reaction. They saved her life, and that's why she's here today.
Dagger Law has been part of the Lancaster community for more than 110 years. This is where we live and work. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and all around town. We consider our clients as friends, and we walk alongside you through challenging times. Whether you're a growing business, a changing family, facing litigation, planning your future, or dealing with land issues, we're right here. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced. Dagger Law.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster, and we fell in love with the downtown area, where the fountain is, and the memorials, and the flags, and all this stuff. And we looked around, and I said, there's our bank, right there.
There's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live. Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. The employees are happy here, they're conversant, customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The Frank E. Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.